I tested a random website security and got an F rating. Yours is probably F2. Let me show you why. Going to a security testing website, entering any site, and bam! F rating with 6 red pages. 6 critical security problems that 90% of websites have. Here's what each one means, why it's dangerous, and how to check your website in 10 seconds. First page is called Strict Transport Security. That's the technical name, but the simple version is forced encryption. Forces your browser to always use a secure connection instead of an insecure one. Sounds technical, but here's what it means in practice. For example, you're at a coffee shop, Wi-Fi is open, you log into your website admin and the hacker in the same cafe intercepts your connection and sees your cookies, tokens, login, and password. And done. They have access to your site, can upload a backdoor, steal customer database, or even inject casino redirects. And you'll only find out when Google bans your site. How to check it? Open site, F12, network tab, any file, response headers. Look for Strict Transport Security. Don't see this header? Well, you have a problem. Without forced encryption, your website is vulnerable on any public Wi-Fi. Second page, Content Security Policy. In plain English, controls where your site can load code, styles, and images from. Without this page, this attack is called malicious code injection. For example, someone finds a vulnerability in your WordPress plugin, injects malicious code into a comment or form. This code executes on all pages. It steals cookies from all visitors, redirects to phishing sites, mines cryptocurrency using visitor processors, and shows fake payment forms. There's also a real example. In 2018, British Airways attack via third-party code on payment page, 80,000 credit cards stolen, and fine £20 million. Reason: no code loading control. This protection equals whitelist of where code can load from. Everything else gets blocked. Third page, X-frame option. In plain English, prevents your site from being loaded inside a frame on other sites. Click hijacking. Hacker creates their own site with a download free button. Loads your site in an invisible layer over that button. User thinks they're clicking download, but actually they're clicking transfer $500 on your banking site under the invisible layer. Facebook, Google, Amazon all block frame loading because they know the risks. Without this protection, anyone can manipulate actions on your website. The fourth page, X content type options. In plain English, prevents browser from guessing file types. Without it happens file type substitution attack. For example, hacker uploads a file cutecat.png to your gallery, and actually it's a code with malicious content, but with a .png extension. Without this protection, the browser is too smart. Looks at the file contents, sees code, guesses it's a program, and executes it. And after all, site is compromised through an image. But with this protection, the browser only trusts what the server says in the header. Server says this is a PNG image. The browser displays as an image and doesn't execute as a code. And after all, one header blocks an entire class of attacks. The fifth page, Referrer policy. In plain English, controls what information about traffic source gets sent to the other sites. Without it, private information can leak. For example, user buys something sensitive on your e-commerce store. The page address looks like yoursite.com, orderviagra.company.com. Clicks on an ad or external link, and without this protection, this entire address leaks to the third-party site. And they know who bought it, what was bought, the email address, and the system number. Ad networks, analytics trackers all see this information, sell databases, spam, blackmail in worst cases. So this protection equals control over what other sites see. The sixth page, permission policy. Used to be called feature policy. In plain English, controls which browser features and sensors the site can use. Without this header, malicious code can turn on camera and microphone, get precise geolocation, use motion sensor and gyroscope, access USB devices, show full screen mode, and use form autofill. All without your knowledge, without requesting permission. Like an example, malicious ad on a site turns on your microphone, listens to the conversations, and shows targeted ads based on what it heard. And this isn't a theory. These are real documented cases, so this protection equals blocking dangerous features by default. Why this matters? 90% of websites get a D or F rating on security checks. Why? Because most hosting providers don't configure these headers by default. They consider it client responsibility. But when the site gets hacked, you suffer, not the host. The problem is the website owners don't even know these headers exist. You think you bought hosting with security certificate and you have protection, but actually the certificate is just traffic encryption. That's one layer of protection out of 10. Security headers, this is the second critical layer, and 90% of sites don't have it. So how to fix it? You have two main options. Option 1. Configure yourself. If you have Apache web server, add to .HTACCESS file everything that you see written on the screen. If in Jigs web server, similar in config file, full code in description below. Option 2, WordPress plugin. For those who don't want to touch the code, well, you have plugins. Really simple SSL, configures force encryption, and HTTP headers, configures all headers. But plugins can conflict with each other and slow down the site because it's load on the engine. The problem is most hosts don't configure this by default, so either do it yourself or when choosing a host, ask their support, what's the security rating for sites on your hosting? If support doesn't know what that is, that's a red flag. Go check your website right now. The testing site is called securityheaders.com. Paste your domain, enter, and see the rating. If F or D, well, you have problems. What to do? Code for .htaccess file in description below. Instruction for Nginx in description also. Or use a plugin, or ask your hosting provider why you got an F. 90% of websites are insecure. Now you know why. Like if you checked and you got an F, subscribe for more hosting and security breakdowns. Next video exposing unlimited hosting lies. Good luck and check your security right now. And also go check webhosting.com. I promise you we are reliable.